Motorcycle or scooter? Which is safer for a beginner? Now, to fully enjoy the two-wheel experience, I say it all the time. You have to choose the right bike for you. Not me, not anyone else. And this is even more important if you've never ridden before. In this video, I'll share what I can to help you become a more informed buyer, not so much a rider, but that can help too. And to understand what bike is meant for you to not only keep you safe, but make the ride a lot more enjoyable. Okay, so let's start. I think everybody knows there's two types of bikes generally. There's your motorcycles, got the shift, got the clutch, got the shift peg down on the ground, and like something like my bike, it's fully automatic. You don't have to think about it. They call them a scooter. Sometimes they'll call them a motorbike. I don't care about the labels. You need to find the right bike that's for you, basically. Now look, I've owned manual shift bikes. Many of you guys out there that watch this channel own manual bikes. Nothing wrong with those at all. But if you're a beginner and you take that rider's course, they're going to show you how to ride a manual shift bike. They have the bikes there. I've done videos on this. But if you still want something even simpler, look for a automatic like I have, and it makes the experience a lot more enjoyable for me. So some people like the shift. Some people like that feeling of getting on the throttle, shifting through the gears. That's cool. You know, whatever floats your boat. I do too. I wish I had many bikes because one day maybe I want to go ride a real quick sport bike, where other days I just want to ride my automatic and cat around town just like nobody's business. Most automatic bikes like mine are usually smaller displacement engines, lower cc's. Mine's only 150 cc, but so are other bikes. Even manual bikes have lower cc. It's not so much about the cc, but it's about the mechanism of being automatic. You know, some will argue that automatics don't make the bike any safer than any other bike. I hear you. But here's what you got to keep in mind, especially for a new rider, beginner rider. Do you want something easy to use like an automatic where you don't have to think so much and you can focus more on the road and your surroundings? You know, you might want to consider an automatic like I did. I got to an age, guys, where I did not want the complexity or the heaviness of a manual bike. That's why I chose the automatic like I have now, and that's my choice. It's nobody else's choice. Owning my bike this long, I would have not gone back and changed it one bit. I really enjoy it. I think it's fun. It's got plenty of torque, plenty of power for my needs, and I'm not driving across the country with it. Trust me, I wouldn't do that. For all your Cannonball Run people out there that go across the country, yeah, good luck with that. Maybe one day, but right now I'm not in a position to even begin to think about that. But I think it would be fun. Just don't know if I want to deal with all the maintenance on a small bike like I have with changing oil along the way and all that stuff. Anyway, that's another topic. But yeah, so you got to understand, an automatic or do you want a manual bike? Now, most automatic bikes are typically like what I have, a smaller scooter, smaller displacement CC engine. But Honda actually has bigger automatic bikes, of course, but not too many manufacturers produce an automatic. So I don't know all of them, but I know Honda has some autos and some things like that. But yeah, if you're looking for like more something like I have where you just get on, twist and go, usually those are what they consider scooters or smaller motorbikes. And there's nothing wrong with them, guys. Again, this video is about what brings you the most safety, especially for a beginner rider. So the whole concept of this video I wanted to stress was, I guess you could call it rideability. And the first one would be ease of use. Do you want something complicated? Do you want to deal with shifting? Do you want to deal with back brake on the ground instead of your handle grips? You know, the brakes on a scooter like mine have front and right brakes right here, right by what you're gripping, so it's a little more convenient. Other people say they don't like that because they're so used to a manual shift bike and the back brake being on the right floor. It all depends. Do you want a bike that's more steps to start up? I get on mine, I turn the ignition, push a button, and go. Now, some of your older bikes, like my son has an old Harley, There's a choke. You got to pull out the choke. You get it, let it warm up for 4 days, and then maybe you can ride. I didn't want any of that. Those bikes are cool in their own regard, but so you got to think about those things. What do you want to get out to and go out to your garage or go outside and hop on and ride? Do you want complication or do you want it easy as possible? So you got to also understand rider confidence. You don't want to be out there being panicked when you're riding because you're not used to shifting, or there's some complicated deal on your bike that's going to prevent you from looking and reacting to things around you. So the goal is to prevent panic if and when a situation happens. Like if somebody tries to pull out on you, you try to swerve around something in the road, heaven forbid something like that happen. If the more used you are to your bike, the safer you're going to be. Again, the goal, eyes on the road and your surroundings. The enjoyment factor also means you're going to ride it probably a lot more if you actually enjoy your bike. How many out there, raise their hands, have some bikes sitting in their garage that they never ride because they don't want to deal with it? That happens, believe it or not. Then you got to consider how fast do you want your bike to go. What is the top speed? You got to know these things before you even start looking for bikes. Where are you going to ride? Is it going to be on the highway? Is it going to be mainly back roads like I do? Look, I can take my bike on the highway. I have lots of videos explaining that, demonstrating that, but I'm not going to. I don't like it. I don't like going that fast on my bike. It's just because it's so light and nimble, and yeah, there's wind, and yeah, you get wind when you ride a bike, but any crosswind on a highway with my bike is a very daunting feeling. I mean, gosh, sometimes I feel like I'm going to blow off the highway. That's because it's such a light bike. So anyway, you got to take those things in consideration. If you're going to stick to back roads, if you're going to go just casually, there's nothing wrong with a smaller displacement bike. Nothing at all. And that's why I enjoy mine. So yeah, ease of use is going to be one of the biggest factors for your safety. Talking about that, we're going to talk about bike size. Do you want a bike that when you come to a stop, you can barely keep it upright because it's so heavy? Yeah, gotta be. A lot of people buy those type of bikes, and they get out there on the road and they've hardly ever ridden. They have really no experience. And I've seen people drop a bike at a red light because they're like, oh my God, oh my God. And they just don't do that. Get a bike that's meant for you, your size. Do you want an 800-pound bike that you can barely keep up if you do come to a stop? No. What about engine size and acceleration? You got to be careful with some bikes. I tell you, I rode a BMW M1000R and I popped the wheelie without even trying. It kind of freaked me out a little bit. This was during a demo ride and I just twisted that throttle a little bit too much. My front wheel came off the ground. So, and I'm even an experienced rider. So if you're not an experienced rider and you go out there and buy a super duper fast sport bike, yeah, you're going to run into problems because you don't understand how much power those things have. The main thing is the most accidents out there occur when somebody runs off the road in a turn because they can't control it. And that's just being inexperienced. Oh, and my bike, I think my bike has a lower center of gravity. I can feel it when I ride other bikes. So that's important too. If you get a bike that has a lower center of gravity, the stability is a lot better. I don't know. I just noticed that on my bike, but a lot of people don't even notice that. It seems to work out for me pretty good. Seat height. All right. Now my bike, because it's so light, it really don't affect me too much, but my seat height is higher than I would really want. I got about a 30-inch inseam. It's not about your torso. It's about your inseam, from that to the ground. You want something that ideally, when you come to a stop, red light, stop sign, so you're going to want to keep both feet flat on the ground. I mean, I know it's common sense, but you don't think about these things a lot, well, especially new riders. So the more stability that you have with both feet on the ground, on the pavement, you're going to be able to keep that bike steady. It's going to determine by seat height. How you do that? Well, you sit on the bike you're looking for, and I'm telling you, it's just a nice, comfortable feeling when you can sit on a bike and you can have both feet on the ground. That stability is priceless. Now my scooter, it got like a 30 something. I have to look at the specs, but I cannot put my feet flat on the ground on my bike, believe it or not. But again, it's so light that it's not going to be a big deal. It's like a bicycle. I mean, even if I can't put both feet on the ground, I'm not going to drop it. It's really light. So another factor to look into. And does your seat provide comfort? One of the biggest gripes I have on this Honda ADV 150 is seat comfort. It wasn't designed to be a touring bike, wasn't designed to be ridden across the country. Therefore, they put a seat on these things that are like a park bench. And I know a lot of you guys complain about the seat, so you can get you a nice Corbin. There's some other aftermarket seats that are from like Thailand and overseas where you can get them shipped to you. But I tell you, from what I know, it does make a world of difference because the more comfortable your bike, the more comfortable your seat, guess what? You're going to want to ride it more, especially if you're planning on taking a little bit longer trip. So now I'll talk about safety features, they call it. Things like ABS and things of that nature. So ABS, yeah, it's on my bike. The automatic, what do you call ABS? Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Where it pulsates when you stop, automatic braking science. I don't know. Anyway, ABS, my goodness, it's been a day. So my bike has ABS, and really, I've never used it. I mean, I've never felt it kick in. For one, I don't drive like a maniac, and thankfully, no one's ever pulled out on me to a point where I had to slam on my brakes. But ABS, automatic braking system, anyway, do I need it? I guess it's an added safety feature, so I would say yes. If you can find a bike with it on, you might as well go for it. Now, my bike, I could have bought it without ABS, but I didn't care either way. It's a little more money for ABS, and the bike I bought had it on there, so I was pleased about that. But it's definitely a good feature. I don't know if you've ever driven a car with ABS and you felt that kick in. Yeah, it is a lifesaver. But on a motorcycle, I don't know. I don't know how, if anyone's ever experienced that before or not. I know I haven't, but I don't think it could hurt. Then you got stuff like traction control, which I could see that being a good feature. I don't have it on my bike, but I've ridden bikes that have it, and it's something you really don't feel that much. But I guess when you're going to hitting a curve, or you're going to maybe somewhere and it's slippery outside, maybe raining, heck yeah, traction control would be a good feature. Now, when you start getting into traction control and things like that, usually you're going to pay a little more premium for those features. But hey, my philosophy is, if you can buy a bike that has all that stuff built in, the more safer for you, that's great. Do it. Do it. Because, you think a couple $100, I don't need that. But hey, if it saves your life or prevents you from having a serious injury, again, priceless. Now they got something called slipper clutch. Slipper clutch. What that's designed to do is it's really to prevent like rear wheel lockup when you're downshifting, especially. You know how you have the engine brake kick in? So this slipper clutch allows that transition to slip, bypassing that abrupt wheel lock on the back. At least that's how I understand it. So it's like more of a slipperier clutch process. So it gives a little bit. Anyway, my mind is going in all these different directions right now. But hey, Bengals, they blew it earlier in the year, didn't they? My goodness, I'm so sick of the Bengals sometimes. They got to start out better. You can't start out 0-4 and expect to get to the playoffs. They almost did, but they lost too many games by this close, and I think that's all mindset and coaching. Anyway, enough of that. Their defense was lousy this year, so they better improve that. Back to the topic. Now, TPMS, Tire Pressure Monitoring System. Does anyone have that on their bike? I guess it's a cool feature. I mean, yeah, especially on a motorcycle or a motorbike, you would want to know if one of your tires either got a puncture or is getting low. So if your bike has the TPMS on it, and usually that's in the valve stem type deal, yeah, that would be a cool feature. I don't have it on mine. Mine's pretty bare bones. The only thing I have on my Honda is ABS that's never been used, or I've never felt it kick in because I'm not crazy. Really, I'm not. What about airbags? Yes, there are bikes that actually have airbags on them. Maybe you guys have one. If you, any Goldwing people out there, So yeah, you can get a bike with airbags. I mean, you start getting all this stuff, you just might as well buy a car. I mean, goodness. But yeah, I mean, I guess airbags would be okay. Definitely safety feature, but you're gonna probably pay a pretty high premium in a bike for airbags, let me tell you. How about storage and transport? Now, the heavier the bike, the more pain in the butt it's gonna be to transport it or sometimes even store it. So if you're looking for a bike, where's it gonna be sitting? In your garage, outside? Are you gonna have to put it on a truck, running up a lift? I don't know. So you got to consider those things. Do you want to mess with a real heavy, clunky bike? Or if you're just going to buy a bike once and never take it anywhere, park it in your garage, then it really is the moot point. But you still have to consider if you're ever going to transport the thing, weight's going to be a factor and bulk, right? So lastly, we'll talk about gear, talking about safety gear. I get it. I'm a bad boy when it comes to that. I don't really own a lot of protective riding gear. That's my choice. But look, if you're concerned about safety, especially if you're riding a manual bike and you're shifting and you got your leg down there by the muffler. Most newer bikes now have the muffler protection where it doesn't fry your leg. I remember, man, I had a bike once that I was watching a fire. This house was on fire. And I'm like, I was excited. So I came and not for them, but it was kind of neat seeing I think everybody was okay. But anyway, I came to an abrupt stop and I'm like, I put my leg down. Man, my leg, I heard it singe alongside the muffler. I had a patch like this on my right leg for months. I mean, it fried my leg. So I don't know, man. I don't know back then if my bike that probably didn't even have a cover on the muffler. It was an old Yamaha, I think. But anyway, so riding gear, protect your legs. Protect if you do have a manual shift bike, you got that shift lever. It's going to get kind of challenging with flip-flops on, trying to shift your bike. So it's common sense, guys, but the more you don't have to go overkill with this stuff. You really don't. But I tell you what, one fall, one bad case of road rash, you'll start wearing protective gear from now on. Again, I've been lucky. I've never dropped my bike. But protective gear, especially up here, you want that helmet. I wear my helmet at all times. Again, this is another very debatable thing. If you don't want to wear a helmet, then that's up to you. Okay. And I just realized I have my glasses on. Interesting. Getting old. But yeah, I wear a helmet at all times. I really feel that I have a lot to do left on the earth and I kind of want to stick around a while. So I wear a helmet. Is it the most comfortable thing in the world? Nah. It's hot in the summer sometimes, but I do it anyway. I just feel that, yeah, I want to be here for a while. Now, if you don't want to be here for a while, you have other problems. So what else? What else? Gloves. Got to wear gloves. Now, if you ride a manual bike or you're anticipating on buying a manual bike, I would recommend gloves because that constant, clutch action, you're gonna probably get some blisters if you don't. I don't know. You may not get blisters, but I would wear gloves. I wear them even on the little scooter. Now, do I need it if I'm going down to Daytona or somewhere on a beach boardwalk and I'm just catting around on a little scooter? No, of course not. But if you're doing any serious riding out on the roadways, yeah, you have the potential of rocks, debris hitting you in the hands. I do not have grip guards, but I think I want to get them because I had one time a rock hit me like right on the knuckle and it freaking hurt, man. And the car was like way ahead of me, but those rocks start bouncing. So I'm like, if I didn't have gloves on, it would have been a lot more painful. So even though my gloves are kind of cheap and thin, it did offer me some protection. But gloves are important. Important. I'm getting an accent and don't know it. Headgear, your helmet with a visor, because even if you ride without a helmet on, you definitely are going to want goggles, right? Your eyes are critical, man. I mean, I would hate to have an eye injury, so it's not worth it. But even guys that don't wear helmets, I see them with goggles or glasses on or something. So that's common sense too. Now with my bike, I have floorboards. So I don't need to worry about shifting. There's no clutch lever down there. I can wear flip-flops on my bike, no problem. You know what? But I don't, because I do kind of prepare a little bit if I have to get off the bike or whatever. So I wear sturdy shoes even on my bike, even though it's just a floorboard deal, you know. So anyway, guys, I probably missed a bunch of stuff. So leave a comment below if you can help somebody out as far as safety or have any other recommendations. But I think I covered a lot of it. And again, most of this is common sense, but you buy the bike that's right for you. And for new riders, beginner riders, take that rider's course. Your state has them. I did a video on that, like I said, and it's really helped me, even though I have a scooter, automatic bike. I learned so much in that class, and they have you're going to learn shifting in the clutch and the friction zone, right? You'll learn all that, and it was really good information. So, if you prioritize being safe on your bike, you're going to just have a much more pleasurable experience riding on two wheels. Anytime I go out to ride, I feel confident because I know my bike well, it's not complicated, and I see so many people out there, and you can tell they're very inexperienced when you're either riding behind them or you see them coming up to a stoplight or something and they can barely keep the bike up. Yeah, don't be that person on TikTok that you're going to get laughed at, you know, with a bunch of videos because you dropped your bike at a red light. No, it hasn't happened to me, actually. And you know what? If it happens, so be it. Don't worry about it. That's their problem, not yours. As long as you're safe, who cares, right? You can drop your bike. What's the worst that'll happen? You guys buff some scratches out or replace a mirror, whatever. So anyway, I hope that helped. I had a little bit of fun doing this video. Just more natural. But yeah, I can't ride, guys. It's like freaking 10 degrees outside, and there's still remnants of 12 inches of snow out there. So I thought this video would be maybe something supplemental that I know spring's right around the corner, as they say. So someone who's new to my channel and maybe looking to ride, yeah, just consider what you like. Just consider something, even if it's your first bike, you can upgrade later. Remember that. You can look at the used market. There's a lot of used bikes out there that are very inexpensive, but they're decent bikes. Now, there's all kind of different automatics too. I don't know if you want a Vespa or something like that, but they're cool too. The Suzuki Bergmans are really nice, very reliable. So anyway, rattle, rattle. Hope that helps, and we'll see you on the next one.